McGillicuddy and Murder's Pawn Shop, Season 2, Episode 23. Wrath Confronted. October 11th, 1921. Continued. There are a few reactions Noble might have had to my declaration. I said, I'm going to go get myself killed by confronting a madman with a puppet face in an attempt to undo the evils I have done. Noble might have responded with, that is stupid. He might also have responded with, I won't let you. Instead, he did neither. He said, well, if you're going, then I'm coming too. What if I don't want you to come? I said. You don't want me to come? He said. No, I do want you to come, I said. I mean, what if things end badly for you, and it's all my fault? I'll take the credit if things end badly for me, he said. Besides, if you go alone, who will you have to drag out your bruised and bleeding corpse? Oh, you're too kind. I stepped outside the crypt, and Noble followed. The cold wind stung my cheeks. I'm not risking this with a damaged soul again, I said. We'll go the ordinary way, down through the Purgatory Club. Noble nodded, and with that, we teleported. We landed inside the Purgatory Club in the back alcove. We turned the painting upside down and scurried into the secret tunnel underground. My heart was thumping. Nothing seemed real yet. I'd made this decision, thrust myself into it head first. It was like leaping into the sea and deciding you'd learn how to swim along the way. Before I had time to blink or breathe, or so it seemed, we reached the door that led into the Night Enthusiast cave. I was shivering. Noble looked back at me. You look like you could use a good scare, he said. The opposite of that, I think, I said. No, Noble said. A good scare is like a shot of bourbon. It steadies you, gets your adrenaline going. Well, would you like to pop out from behind that corner and give me a scream? I said. Noble grinned. No, I think you'd better just go in. What will you do? I said. I've got a gun, Noble said, and I'm going to come in after you. If you can, turn him around so his back is to this door. That way, if things go badly, I can shoot without him seeing me. He can't be shot, you know, I said. He can be shot, Noble said. He just can't be shot everywhere. I nodded. I didn't want to think about this. I didn't want to plan. I didn't want to edit it too much in my head, because I was afraid that would make me give up. So I pushed open the door and strode in. Hello, Wrath, I said. It was no good keeping quiet. He would see me either way. Wrath turned and looked at me. At first, his face was all puzzlement. Then slowly, a grin spread from ear to ear. I know why you're here, he said. No, you don't, I said. I'm here because of what you did with Ariana. I wanted to talk to you about it, about your trade for Ariana's life. I strode towards him as fast as I could. My heart beat like the wings of a little bird inside my chest. I couldn't help feeling like I was about to face a monster. Not the man Wrath, but the diseased puppet that was locked up inside of his flesh and blood. The Ariana trade, Wrath said. Yes, I said. I reached him. I stepped into the gazebo and I sat down on the table that he'd set the train cars on. He turned to face me, and he turned his back to the door. You were unnecessarily cruel, I said, and it made me angry. You asked me if I loved Ariana. I said yes, and then you picked her deliberately as bait. Smiling, Wrath shook his head. Stupid. You really can't see it. My plan is to kill every Night Enthusiast. It always has been. But I like you, Maud. I am indebted to you. You set me free. You said you loved Ariana, so I decided that she would be the one Night Enthusiast I let go. Choosing her for my trade ensured that her own people, her own kith and kin, would betray her and throw her to the dogs. Who would stay after something like that? I never planned on killing her. I planned on killing all of them but her. I was kicking her out. For you. Wrath stared into my eyes. His left eye whirled inside his head, rattling around like a tiny rabid animal, but his human eye stared straight into mine. He was telling the truth. He had been merciful to Ariana. It was genius. And unexpected. Oh, I said. And stop beating around the bush, Wrath said. We both know why you're really here. You don't like what I've done. You don't think it's just. He leaned forward. But I tell you it is just. It's exactly just. It's an eye for an eye. He slapped the wooden side of his face. These are the ones who put me in my train car, and now they're all where they belong. I looked down at the floor. What about Ariana? I said. Ariana? She said she put you in the train car too. Wrath snorted. She was a coffee girl. You really think she had anything to do with my imprisonment? Ariana was the one who brought me my last meal the day I died. She stood to the side and blubbered the whole time they were doing it. She was there, but she was sorry. I looked away. Out of the corner of my eye I saw Noble, who had sneaked into the cave by this time. He was near us, a little to the left, and his gun was drawn. I know you don't like it, Wrath said, but I don't care if you don't like it. I'm going to set them free, Wrath, I said. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Noble wince. I wasn't exactly being cryptic, was I? Go ahead, Wrath said. I paused. That surprised me. Go ahead, I said. Yes. What will you do if I do? Absolutely nothing. I stared Wrath in the eyes. He grinned slowly. I turned to face the train cars and I said, I wish you were all free. Then I waited. I waited for my words to work, for the prisoners in the train cars to break free, but nothing happened. For a terrible moment I thought my powers were gone, that I could no longer break spells. Wrath started laughing. You see? It takes a while. Of course. He hadn't suddenly leapt out of his train car when I'd released him. It had happened sometime during the night. Good grief. This might take hours. Are you just going to stand here and wait? Wrath said. Because when they come out of their train cars, I'm just going to put them right back in. I won't let you, I said. Wrath snatched me by both shoulders. Oh yes, you will. Hester! From behind us, Noble shouted Wrath's real name. Wrath set me down slowly and turned around. Oh, Wrath said. Hello, Noble. Hester, leave her alone, Noble said. Oh, I don't think so, Wrath said. I think you'd better leave, Noble James. This isn't you, Noble said. You don't want to do this. The man I knew would never do this. But that's just it. Wrath tapped the wooden side of his face. I am doing it. So where does that leave us? Either I am not really doing it, or I am not myself. And which do you think is true? If I'm not Hester Rathbone, then where did Hester Rathbone go? He snarled. I'll tell you where Hester Rathbone went. He died in a toy made of wood. And do you know what I'm going to do to you if you don't get out of here right now? I'm going to put you each into your own train cars. We hope you've enjoyed Season 2, Episode 23, Wrath Confronted, of McGillicuddy and Murder's Pawnshop. McGillicuddy and Murder's Pawnshop is written and performed by Minerva Sweeney Wren, all rights reserved. If you wish you were a magic unusual, fear not. When you subscribe to or review this podcast, you perform a magical deed by making it far more attractive to potential listeners. You can also gain magical powers by becoming a $1 patron at patreon.com/SweeneyWren. Results are not guaranteed. McGillicuddy and Murder's Pawnshop will continue with Season 2, Episode 24, Death to All Mice.